Hi, my name is Jennifer Kranjec. I am an online hypnosis practitioner and I help people in the surgical, medical, and healthcare professions live healthier, happier lives. When people are working in this healthcare community, as you full well know, you are dealing with a lot of trauma and PTSD within yourself. You are watching people come to you for help. They are in excruciating pain, and you have to stand there and watch human suffering. Maybe you're watching people die. You're maybe even going through a journey with a patient, and you're seeing them, from the beginning of an illness, and you're taking them right through to their passing. That can actually play a lot of, trauma on a human being, watching somebody going through something like that. And it can be very heartbreaking delivering bad news to people if you're, talking to a patient or their families and watching the reaction and being swept up in this as well, because human beings are emotional creatures and we have that sense of sympathy and empathy that we can relate even from our own personal experiences, and it can build on top of, maybe what we're going through in our own lives, and it can add to a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. You're going to find some people even experience heavy anxiety attacks, panic attacks, insomnia, or just sleep deprivation. Maybe there's ways of trying to cope through maybe alcohol, smoking, gambling, overeating, things like that, to help alleviate the suffering, boost that dopamine hit just so that you can get away from the trauma stacking. Even just living your day-to-day life, going through these kind of situations where you're trying to save people or help people, maybe they are under a lot of stress and strain themselves emotionally with a lot of physical pain, and they're lashing out at you, and they don't mean to. It's just that this is the response, and they feel helpless, and they're taking that hit out on you, and making you feel bad for the next person that you have to go see. And it's unacceptable to feel or be weak when you go from case to case with each different patient that you're interacting with. You cannot be seen as somebody that's feeling weak, feeling low, feeling bad. You have to be energetic. You have to be the leader. You have to be that person that is showing the authority and that are the rock for that patient and their family, looking to you as the expert to help them through whatever trial or tribulation that they're going through. And this adds so much to you. And as time goes on, you will start breaking down. And this is why I have a practice for what I do, because over time, if these emotions aren't dealt with, and a lot of people in this healthcare community, they don't want to go for mental health help. A lot of people find that there's still a bit of shame in it, or they feel that they're not a good enough practitioner of what they're doing to not be able to help themselves, or they've left it so long that they didn't even recognize the signs as they were building within themselves, and avoid therapy at all costs, or they're afraid of their medical record being tampered, with this kind of information, and it looks like a tarnish on their career, and it could affect their license in some ways. I've heard of doctors even traveling for many miles out of town to use a false name just so they can have therapy, because they're afraid to. A lot of doctors don't even have their own personal general physician, just because they don't want to have to confide this information. They think that they can do it on their own, but again, that's another added pressure to what you're going through. And because of this type of work, and a lot of people not seeking out the help that they need in order to be their best for their job, and it can be very hard to feel beaten down, or feel like there's no room to grow within your career, and that passion that was once there to care and be of service to the general public and help them with their healthcare needs. It starts to take that toll on you as a healthcare professional, and this is where the burnout also can come into play. So the service that I offer, I am a hypnosis practitioner. I specifically deal with people in the healthcare community whether you're an anesthesiologist, a surgeon, a nurse, you're, just a caregiver in a hospital, maybe you're in palliative care or you're in a hospice or something like that, where you are dealing with this kind of stress and strain every day. And it does take its toll. What I do is I help you in hypnosis, in a conversational version of hypnosis. We help bring those emotions down, and we get you to a place where the mind can actually start to recover and start building more appropriate responses that will help you move forward and feel better, build better coping mechanisms, so that you don't get locked into this endless cycle of trauma and pain, and help knock out some of the side effects from that as well. So maybe you are reaching for alcohol, for example, to alleviate your stress. And maybe this is something that's starting to build and you need to get a handle on it right away. The type of work that I do is specifically meant for this. If you are nervous about going to traditional therapy, this is a fantastic option to start you on your way to recovery. And a lot of times, the type of work that I do, one session is all that's needed. And I know that sounds very fantastic, but in reality, what we're doing is we are teaching the mind to find the space from before the trauma was actually happening for you, or the problems were happening, and to let it relearn how to be that way, so that instead of overblowing an emotional response and making you suffer for days and months and years on end feeling in a particular way, we allow the mind to realize it can actually recover from that, and after an appropriate amount of time, of course. And then you can continue, living your life and being able to deal with the ups and downs of the type of work that you do. And in doing this, you're going to find that you have more passion for your job again. You're going to, have a better attitude of going to work. Maybe it's hard for you just to get out of bed and face the day. You just, live for the end of the week, basically, to just have time off of work. It might improve, your relationships at home with your family. Maybe if you are suffering anxiety or trauma or some kind of form of PTSD, maybe you don't want to be social. Maybe you want to spend more time with your family. You just can't bring yourself to do it because you're not in the mindset. You just want to not engage. This will bring you closer to your family. If there's an alcohol problem or addiction problem and it's interfering with the happiness of your home, this can actually help break the cravings for that addiction to help you on your way, so that you can actually start planning a recovery for yourself and bring your family closer together to help save those relationships. I've heard a lot of people say too, when they start breaking their addiction cravings, even their sex life improves. So there's many ways that this can actually help you. And again, I have complete sympathy for people who are going through these kinds of things and trying to, stay stoic. But there's only so much a person can take, until that breakdown starts to happen. And if you do find that this is you and you're starting to recognize the signs of the trauma that your work can actually play upon you, please feel free to contact me, reach out. I do free online consultations to help you learn a little bit more about my services and how I can help you in your very specific needs. I use a form of conversational hypnosis that is very cutting edge. Not many people are doing it, and it's very effective. This is why I choose to do this type of hypnosis. I'm trained in many, many, many methods of hypnosis, but this is the most impactful for actual success and long-term success as well. All sessions that I have are held online over Zoom, so it doesn't matter where in the world you are. You can have a session on your computer with me from the safety of your own home, the privacy of your own home. It is off your record so that your license is safe. And I have much more information on my website that you can take a look at in the description below. There's a link there. There's also a link to my Calendly page for a booking of a free consultation with me online over Zoom. Please check out my other videos on the website, social media, and YouTube. And again, I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out if you have any questions or comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope this has helped be a little bit more informative. And I wish you a great day. And this is the end of the video for today. And I'll see you on the next video.